Okay, so growing up, I always liked of course I was a Power Rangers fan and everything, and I grew up with a lot of cousins, and so what we liked to do was reenact stuff, like reenact Power Rangers. We reenacted like the boat chase from the end of the Street Fighter movie, and what right, exactly, in the backyard on the picnic tables because we were awesome. So
that's so good.
The thing that I noticed really early on was that most of the female characters involved in these teams didn't really get to fight. And it was kind of most stark to me. I was really young, and my cousin Clarence and I, and he's in all of my stories, we were playing Superman, and I was like, oh, I'll be Lois Lane. And he was like, great, just wait here. I'm going to come back and rescue you. And so I'm like, story. I'm in the living room just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So I finally get up and look for him, and he's like off doing something else because Superman forgot all about me. And I was like, never again. I grew up with my grandparents, so my cousins were all the ways at my house. And so there was always a group of people to play with, and Clarence was always the best at everything. And it was like you couldn't really enjoy playing like a narrative game with a group because then you had to like cheer on the one person who's playing. And it's like, okay, cool, we're playing Sonic now, but now we just have to watch Clarence play Sonic. It's like, okay. And it's
Terrence,
like,
you're very fast.
So it's like, wow, cool. So we got into fighting games, and it was, I really started to like love them. And it was, we didn't fight each other much because that was very much frowned upon, like don't injure each other. But we could beat the shit out of each other in these fighting games and get like all of this aggression out and stuff. And you have a house of like, 7 or 8, like 9-year-olds. Of course we're going to get into fights. And of course we're going to want to beat the shit out of each other. So a good way to get that out was through fighting games. And so, yeah, and like my goal in life was to be good enough at some game to beat Clarence because he was undefeated. Like none of us could beat him. And it was like no game. You couldn't, like nothing. Mortal Kombat couldn't beat him. He's the only one who knew how to do fatalities and babalities, and like the rest of us are just like, shit, I don't know. He's like, got it. The problem comes in, and I kind of found this when I started playing with people not my family, is that as a woman or somebody who's femme presenting, like you, as soon as you show that you are good and you start beating people, then they have to call everything into challenge. Just like, oh, you're just mashing the buttons. You don't really know how to play. You're just hitting buttons.
Everyone uses that character. Like, right. It's easy with that. That's the cheat anyway.
Yeah. And it just becomes like at every moment they just want to challenge you, and they just want to like, it's like you can't possibly be this good. You must be cheating. What are you doing? So,
a question for you: did you talk more shit to people?
Oh, what?
Did you talk more shit to people that were in your family or out? Because people go either way, right?
Here's the trick. So within my family, we talk a lot of shit constantly,
right?
Like always. And outside of my family, I'll stay quiet in the beginning, and I'll just be like, "Oh, sure, I'll play. We'll give it a try." And then like I'm always like, "Oh, we should play the thing where like you sit at the controller until you get defeated, and then you have to get up." And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll play that." And I'm like,
some fights, fam.
And then I proceed to sit at the controller until I lose because my fingers get tired.
Yeah.
So like, my version of trash talking has always been to pick the girliest, cutest character and just whip ass. Like that is it. Like I'm like, who's the cutest character in this?
I don't even know if she has a punch button, but I'm gonna try it, right?
And people are like, "Oh, you picked the cute girl," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did. Ready? Let's go." And then I'm just like murdering people.
What's your like just top 5 fighting games? Give me 5 off the top. And we're gonna get some audience participation in this because we want to know people's favorite fighting games.
So of course I love Soul Calibur.
Okay.
Soul Calibur, yes. Soul Calibur 3 is actually my favorite one because that's where you got the character creation.
Okay. Yeah.
I love Bloody Roar 2.
Okay.
Which is an awesome game right here. Let's see. Tekken Tag Tournament.
Tekken Tag Tournament. Yeah. That's real. That's real. Okay.
I count. Oh my gosh, I just named it. What is it? Twisted Metal. I count that as a fighting game. It's the only card game I'm good at. And then I have to say, this one's a weird one because it's not like you don't actually fight each other. It's all dance battles, but Bust a Groove too. Which, like, okay,
I was not prepared. I wasn't ready for Bust a Groove.
It's literally, it is a fighting game, except instead of like pile driving each other, you just stand side by side and like have a dance off. The problem I have with Soul Calibur, as much as I love it, more so than Ivy's costume, is that there are no black women in that game. There never have been, and I don't know if there ever will be.
Yeah.
The only one was when I could create my own character, and so I created a brown-skinned dancer. But like I said, there was no like.
Can you name 3 black women characters in fighting games?
Christy.
Okay. And not to test you, I'm saying it as a, like, in general. I think we could qualify that as an underrepresented field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. I don't know. Because there's usually only one black guy anyway.
Well, yeah, the Jacks, you know.
Yeah. Or Eddie.
Or Eddie. Right. Ball rock.
Because there's one, isn't it Azeroth?
Who?
Oh.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah, Jade is up for debate, depending on.
So I was going to say, Mortal Kombat, how do you want to determine on your contrast and brightness of your TV?
It's like, is she? She's darker than Katana and Melina, but she's not. But she is, but she's not. And it's like, I do see
a lot of black women cosplay Jade.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
more than the other two. I mean, there's something to that. If you're a
black woman in cosplay, you just have to give up on trying to like find. Because I found that like in high school, my first cosplaying thing, I was talking to my friend Kate, and I was like, Kate, I don't know who I'm gonna be for Otakon. I'm thinking of like Sailor Moon or Cardcaptor Sakura. She was like, none of those guys are black. Maybe you could be like Nadia. And I was like,
no. Right?
Who? I don't watch that. I don't know her. So like, it's like you. Like character creation was my saving grace.
Right. So actually Injustice, because of their splitting the DC universe, I feel good about like the representation in there, and especially the second one for the range and diversity of characters they have in there. I fucks with Black Canary all day on that. Oh my God, she's amazing.
Black Canary is good. Underappreciated.
Which is, well, you know, as in its canon, she's the best melee fighter in the DC universe. But right now, because it is, you know, VR used to be this thing that was like had this, you know, this price ceiling or price floor that was so hard to get into, and now I think just like everything else, the more and more it gets integrated into more mainstream, the more accepting of it. Now, will it ever take over a traditional release of like a regular console game on a TV? I don't know. Again, like there's a certain privilege in how much space you have and how much that kind of a thing. But I think I would be very cool to see that at like tournaments. I'd be very cool to see that like places like here, right? Like where you can see people play that. Because half the fun of like a VR thing is watching someone from the outside do it, right? And like how real it is to them, and they just look like a fucking idiot from the outside, right? But I do think I would like to see it happen more, and I think it will to some degree. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our panel. Appreciate it. Had a lot of fun up here. Hope you did too. If you got some other questions we didn't get to ask. Yeah, and then you can always hit us up on the Twitter. Our Twitter is Black Nerd Problems, Black BLK NRD Problems. The website is blacknerdproblems.com.